Hi, this is Suchi, and in our today's video, we will be talking about the derived data types, and specifically, we will talk about list. Now, what if we want to add another element to the list? How we can do that? So let's take two lists, a list, which is, let's say, 10, 50, true, XYZ, okay? And there is another list, list B, which is B list, and then that might be having some other values. Okay. Now if I print this list separately, you can see, okay, these are the values. Now, one thing, the list is changeable. If we want to change any element of the list, we can easily do that. List is not immutable, list is mutable. So if I want to change, let's say this 50 to 55, so what I can do is I can just add the index. So this is 0, this is 1. So at first index, just change the value to 55. And then if I print this list, if I print this, you can see that the value of the index 1 has been changed to 55 from 50. So list is actually mutable and we can easily change any value of any element of the list. Now, let's come back to this part. We have two lists, and if we want to add the elements of these two lists into a new list, then how we can do that? We can easily do that with the help of a plus operator. So if we will do this list plus B list, and then if we print this, we can see that these two lists are concatenated. So we can concatenate two lists using a plus operator. Now, this is about the plus operator. What about multiply operator? So if we multiply a list with any integer value, let's say this one, I'm multiplying with 2 or 3, and then we print it, we can see this list elements have been duplicated 3 times. So as you can see, print this list. Extremely sorry for this. So as you can see, this is our list, and when we multiply this with 3, we can see this list elements have been duplicated thrice. We can make it 4, we can make it 5, we can make it any value, and it will be duplicating the list elements that many times. Now, this is one thing. Now, adding any element to the list. How to add new elements to the list? There are two ways of doing this. One is we can do this. Let's say we have a list. We have the C list, right? We have the C list, and this list is having these elements. So let me print it. And now, just now we have seen the list concatenations. So if we just want to add single element, what we can do is plus, we can add a list and we can make that element inside this. And then we can print it. And as you can see, that element have been added here. This is one way of doing it, and we can do it with multiple elements also. So let me just do this again. Let me just run this again. And then if I add multiple elements, as you can see, we can add multiple elements also with this method. But there is another method which is specifically goes for list, which is called append. So there is one method, list.append. And what we can do is we can add our elements with this append method. And we can print C list. We can print it before append operation also. So as you can see, the list was this, and when we appended 100 to it, then it became this. Now, what if we want multiple elements to be added to the list? Will this append method work with multiple elements? Let me try. So let's see if it works or not. So as you can see, this is throwing error. List.append takes exactly one argument, 3 given. Now you might say, okay, do not pass this directly like this. Instead, you add one list here. Okay, let's do that. So as you can see, if I add it like this, it doesn't throw any error, but what it is doing, it is actually adding this list as a single element in the list. It is not actually adding the elements of this list into this list as part of, like, it is not inserting actually 3 elements in the list. It is adding a single element at the end of the list. So this is a problem. Now, what we can do to actually add these 3 elements as separate 3 elements, not a single list, not a single item. So there is another thing which is extend. So if we will use extend instead of append, what will happen? Let's run this. And as you can see, we have added 3 elements at a time. So this extend worked as expected, as we were doing like this. The same method what we have applied here, that we can do with extend. Now here, as you have seen, append method, extend method, both the methods are inserting elements in the list, but definitely it is inserting only at the end of the list. But what if I want to insert it at the beginning or maybe at the middle of the list? For that, Python gives us another method which is insert. So, for example, I have one element like this and I want to insert it into this position. 0, 1, 2, after 2, after index 2, I want to insert that at the position 3. So index 3. Insert, I will add this insert method and I will specify the index where I want to insert this particular thing. So this is the 3rd index, I want to insert it here. So I'm just mentioning 3 and the element which has to be inserted, and let me run this. As you can see, this list was a previous one before the insertion, and this has been inserted after I have run this code. So this is how we can insert at a specific index of the list. So we are done with append, extend, and insert. We have created list. We can check the length of the list. We have inserted element. Now what about deletion? Now we want to delete few elements. For example, this element, I didn't want this. This got inserted. This got inserted, but I didn't want this to be inserted. So now what I want to do is I want to remove this element from the list. So how I can remove? How I can do this? So there are 2 methods. One is if I know the value, I can directly do that. For example, so first let us do it with value. So if I want to remove this thing with value, let's say I want to remove this particular element from the list. So as you can see, this is the list before I run the remove code, and this element was there. And then when I removed it, you can see that element is not present in the list. So this is how by value we can remove. Now you will say that this list is having duplicate values also. For example, if I want to remove 10, 10 is coming twice in this list. So which one will be removed? If I remove by value, so let's see which one gets removed. So I want to remove 10 from this list. As you can see, this is only removing the first occurrence of it. It is not removing this one. Now, let me insert that back again. That 10, let me insert that back again. So 0th index, I want to insert 10. It got inserted. Now, again, what happened? The first occurrence of that element has been removed when we remove the element from the list. So what if I don't want to remove this one? I don't want to remove this one. Rather, I want to remove this one. And I know the index of this element. This is -1, -2, -3. So this is -3. I want to remove that. What I can do is I can even use pop. If I know the index and if I want to remove it with index, then what I can do is I can use pop. It will not only remove, it will also return the value. So for example, here, if I want to show you what it is returning, what is removed? Let us see. Print R. Okay. So let me run this. So as you can see, R has been printed, but there is nothing. That is none. But I want to remove this value at a particular index position, not with the value, but the index position, but I want the value as well. What value has been removed? Here I know that I have added 10. I have asked 10 to be removed and it has removed 10. But here I don't know. I just want to remove the -3 index value, but I don't know what value it is going to remove. So if I want that value to be available and I want to check that value, so what I can do is I can use pop. What it will do, it will remove the value as well as it will return the value also. So here, as you can see, print R is giving me the value which has been removed. So this has removed. Okay, let me run this before doing. So now if I run this, as you can see that it is removing 10 as well as it is returning this value that has been removed. So this is how we can pop a value from a list, and this is how we can remove. Now this is about removing values from list. So we have learned how to add, how to remove, how to fetch values from list, and also how to check the length of a list. So that's it for today, guys. Keep learning, keep implementing, and we will meet in our next video.